Welcome back again, and today we are diving deep into one of the biggest stories in English football right now, Manchester United's summer transfer window. Because after 2 years in the wilderness, the Red Devils are back in the Champions League, and Michael Carrick is wasting absolutely no time in plotting a major overhaul of this squad. There is a lot to get through today: midfielders, wingers, exits, big money deals, and some genuinely exciting names being linked with Old Trafford. So let's get straight into it. First, let's set the scene, because context matters here. Manchester United have qualified for the Champions League after a 2-year absence from European football's biggest competition, and that changes everything in terms of what they can offer potential signings and how much they are willing to spend. A return to the Champions League is a massive pull for any player, and Carrick and the board know that this is their window to make a real statement. At the same time, Liverpool, the defending Premier League champions, only just scraped into the Champions League themselves after a difficult season, and there are even questions being asked about whether Arne Slot will still be their manager going into next year. So there is a real opportunity for United to close the gap on the top clubs and announce themselves as genuine title contenders. They are already being mentioned as early outsiders for the Premier League title, which tells you the level of confidence around Old Trafford right now. So what does Carrick need? Well, the priority is absolutely clear: midfield. United said goodbye to Casemiro at the end of the season, and replacing a player of his experience and profile in the engine room of the team is non-negotiable if they want to compete on multiple fronts next year. And the good news is that Carrick and the recruitment team have been incredibly active in identifying targets, and according to the latest reports, they may already be making serious progress on not just one, but multiple midfield signings. Let's start with the biggest name on the list right now: Ederson. Not the goalkeeper, but the Atalanta midfielder, and if you have not watched this man play, then you are in for a treat. The 26-year-old Brazilian has been absolutely outstanding in Serie A and in the Champions League this season, making 180 appearances for Atalanta across his time there. He is a deep-lying midfielder who can also play as a number 8, and what sets him apart is his engine. The man covers an average of 10.6 kilometers per game in Champions League football. He is relentless, physical, technically solid, and exactly the kind of profile United need to replace what Casemiro brought to the team in terms of protecting the defense and controlling the tempo. According to TalkSport, Ederson has already verbally agreed to sign a 5-year deal with Manchester United. Now, the reports coming out of England suggest that talks are progressing, but perhaps not quite as advanced as some reports from Italy have claimed. But the direction of travel is clear. United are moving for Ederson, and he could become Michael Carrick's first signing of the summer. He did not make Brazil's World Cup squad, but at 26 with Champions League experience and over 180 club appearances, he is a player with real quality and plenty of his best years still ahead of him. And it does not stop there, because according to reports from Italy, Sandro Tonali is also keen on a move to Old Trafford. Now, Tonali is a different type of midfielder, more of a box-to-box player, technically gifted, a real leader on the pitch, someone who has shown at international level and in Serie A that he has the quality to perform at the very highest level. The combination of Ederson and Tonali in United's midfield would be a genuinely exciting one, and it would send a very strong message to the rest of the Premier League that United are serious about competing at the top. TalkSport are reporting that United have agreed personal terms with both players, which, if true, would represent a huge double deal and a significant statement of intent from Carrick's side. But the midfield ambition does not stop at 2 names, because right at the very top of United's shortlist is a player who has been one of the standout performers in the Premier League this season, Elliot Anderson of Nottingham Forest. And this one is going to get complicated very quickly. Fabrizio Romano, and when Fabrizio speaks, you listen, has said this week that Manchester United are calling for Elliot Anderson. His words, not mine. United want him badly. He is described as the top target in their midfield shortlist, and Nottingham Forest manager Vitor Pereira has himself admitted that Anderson could be sold this summer. But here is the problem. Manchester City are also in the race, and they are pushing hard. Romano made it clear that City believe they can tempt Anderson, and Anderson essentially has his pick of both Manchester clubs. United have said they will not be drawn into a bidding war with City, but they remain very much interested, and this saga is going to run and run throughout the summer. Watch this space closely. There is also the name of Mateus Fernandes being mentioned, with United monitoring his situation at West Ham very carefully. West Ham have been relegated to the Championship, which means Fernandes is virtually certain to leave the club this summer. The Daily Mail are reporting that West Ham want around £80 million for him, double what they paid Southampton for him just 12 months ago. Now their relegation has slightly weakened their negotiating position, which could bring that price down. But £80 million is still a significant outlay, and the question is whether United would look to bring in Ederson, a marquee signing like Anderson, and then Fernandes on top of that. It would be an extraordinary midfield rebuild in a single window, but nothing appears to be off the table right now. And what about the dream signing? Because there is one name being whispered around Old Trafford that has everyone buzzing: Aurelien Tchouameni of Real Madrid. The Frenchman is regarded as one of the best central midfielders in the world, and United see him as the perfect marquee successor to Casemiro. The problem? Real Madrid are expected to keep him for Jose Mourinho's first season back at the Bernabeu. Yes, you heard that right. Jose Mourinho is returning to Real Madrid, and Tchouameni is expected to be central to his plans. So while United are dreaming of landing him, the realistic assessment at Old Trafford is that it would take something extraordinary to prize him away from the Bernabeu this summer. Never say never in football, but that one looks very difficult. Now let's talk about the exits, because to fund this level of transfer activity, United need to move players on, and Carrick's side have a plan for that too. Manuel Ugarte is expected to leave this summer. Reports suggest United are looking to sell him before his value deteriorates further, and Galatasaray are mentioned as one of the leading candidates for his signature. The story around Ugarte's arrival at United has not been a happy one. Sources in Paris were apparently surprised that United paid £50 million for a midfielder who was so far down the pecking order at PSG, and there have been well-documented difficulties with his ball-playing ability since arriving in England. A move away this summer looks likely, and frankly, the fee they can recoup for him needs to go straight back into strengthening the squad. Andre Onana is also reportedly set to leave Old Trafford. The goalkeeper has had a mixed time at United since arriving from Inter Milan, and it sounds like the club are ready to move on. Marcus Rashford and Jadon Sancho are also departing, as is Joshua Zirkzee, who arrived with so much promise but has struggled to establish himself consistently. And of course, Rasmus Højlund has already left, having joined Napoli on a loan deal last season that became permanent after Antonio Conte's side qualified for the Champions League. A lot of faces are leaving, which means a lot of wage budget and transfer funds are being freed up for Carrick to reinvest. Now let's move away from midfield for a moment, because there are other areas of the squad that need addressing too, and Carrick is clearly thinking about this holistically. On the left wing, with Rashford and Sancho both leaving, there is a clear gap. United were apparently interested in signing Antoine Semenyo in January before he ended up joining Manchester City, which is a frustrating one in hindsight. RB Leipzig winger Jan Diomande is on the radar, but a fee of around £85 million has been mentioned by sources in Germany, and that is simply not realistic for United in a summer where a marquee midfield signing is the priority. The more likely solution, at least in the short term, might be Patrick Dorg. The young fullback has been deployed on the left wing this season and was actually brilliant there before picking up an injury in January. He was excellent again on the left flank in his first start back from that injury at the weekend, and Carrick is apparently considering whether that should become his permanent position going forward. It would be an intriguing solution that solves two problems at once: the left wing and the left back positions. Because left back is also a need. Luke Shaw has played every Premier League game this season, but United played their fewest matches in a campaign for over 100 years. And with a full Champions League season ahead of them next year, they need depth in that position. The player who has caught United's attention is Lewis Hall at Newcastle United. The young England defender is highly rated, admired at Old Trafford, and has been impressive for the Magpies. The challenge is that Newcastle will demand a significant fee and will be very reluctant to sell a young talent to a direct Premier League rival. Hall is contracted until 2029, so Newcastle hold all the power in that negotiation. Arsenal's Miles Lewis-Skelly and Eintracht Frankfurt's Nathaniel Brown have also been tracked as alternatives at left-back, so United are clearly doing their homework in that area. And then there is one name that came out of left field this week that I genuinely did not expect. Rio Ferdinand has gone on his YouTube channel and suggested that United should look at signing Robert Lewandowski. Yes, that Robert Lewandowski. The 37-year-old is leaving Barcelona after 4 prolific years at the Nou Camp, and his next move is not yet confirmed. Ferdinand's argument was interesting. Not necessarily that Lewandowski is going to be at the peak of his powers, but that the experience and mentality he would bring to the squad alongside a young striker like Benjamin Sesko could be invaluable. Look at the experience he has, the amount of learning that Sesko will do, Rio said. It is a fascinating idea, and honestly, for a club returning to the Champions League and trying to build a winning culture, there is something to that argument. Whether United actually pursue it is another matter entirely. And finally, let me mention something that has been floating around this week that deserves attention. Cole Palmer. The Manchester-born Chelsea star has previously shut down any talk of leaving Stamford Bridge, but The Sun are reporting that Chelsea themselves might consider cashing in if the price is right, with any starting point for a deal said to be around £80 million. Palmer is a Manchester United fan. He grew up supporting the club, and if Chelsea decide they want to sell, United would absolutely be in the conversation. It is one to monitor throughout the summer. It may come to nothing, but the idea of Cole Palmer pulling on a United shirt at Old Trafford is the kind of thing that genuinely gets fans excited. So to summarise where things stand right now, United are plotting one of the most ambitious summer rebuilds in recent memory. They want 2, possibly 3 new midfielders, with Ederson the most likely first signing, Tonali reportedly keen, Elliot Anderson the top target but facing City competition, and Fernandes being monitored. They are offloading Ugarte, Onana, Rashford, Sancho and Xerxes to fund it all. They need left-back cover, are exploring the left-wing situation and have a dream Tchouaméni target that looks difficult. And wildcards like Lewandowski and Palmer are hovering in the background. This is going to be a summer to remember at Old Trafford. Michael Carrick has a real chance here to reshape this club and make them genuine contenders again. The Champions League is back. The money is there. The targets are identified. Now it is about getting the deals done. Make sure you are subscribed so you do not miss a single update as this window unfolds.